Being a United States Senator is important in North Carolina. He serves on very important committees, including Veterans Affairs, Armed Services, and Senate Intelligence. His wife is Brooke. She is not with him tonight. They've been married for 28 years, and I understand she is a tireless campaigner, probably campaigning somewhere else tonight. They have 2 sons, Tyler and William, and Senator Burr, although a Wake Forest graduate, allowed them to attend the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And I might add that they're both employed, right? That's good. Jobs are good. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll not say any more. I want you to show Senator Burr what it's like to come to Craven County, North Carolina, and give a hearty welcome to the senior senator in this state, Senator Ricky Burr.
Trust me, I realize that Carolina Duke are playing 20-some minutes. I understand I'm under the gun tonight. Gary, thank you for that very kind introduction. More importantly, for the wonderful greeting and the great crowd. Chuck, I know you did a lot. I didn't know you did everything down here. But clearly you've got a lot of hats that you wear. And Mildred, thank you, Ms. Parker.
He's saying thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for Republicans. I'm delighted to be here on the night that the mayor saw the light and switched over. I look forward to his leadership in the town, but more importantly, his leadership in the party. This is an interesting time, to say the least. I'm often asked as I come home, what's it like to be in the minority? You know, I went through 10 years, 12 years, 10 years in the House, 2 years in the Senate, where I was in the majority party. The Republicans I looked at and said, Mr. Chairman. Now I'm the ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Committee. I get to make no decisions, none. It's not fun. But I'm reminded of a young lady that graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and her life's ambition was to be a school teacher. And that day she walked across the stage and they handed her the diploma. That was the happiest day of her life because she knew that diploma unlocked the opportunity for her to teach. And she left that day after that Sunday graduation and she headed to Eastern North Carolina where she was from. And she started interviewing. And the third superintendent she visited just fell in love with this young teacher. He offered a teaching job with a third-grade class at one of the schools. She couldn't help herself. All summer she was thinking about that first day of school, and she walked in, and on the first day she wanted to learn every child's first name, and she was having these kids stand up and they were giving their name and she was writing it down on her seating chart, so at the end of the first week she could have memorized all the names. And she was working her way around the room and she got about halfway around and this little boy stood up and she said, "Young man, your name is what?" And he said, "Damn it." She said, "Young man, what's your full name?" He said, "Damn it, Jones." She said, "Does your mother pick you up in the afternoon?" He said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I'd like you to meet me up here after school and I'd like to go meet your mother." So sure enough, the end of the school day came and the little boy went up to the teacher's desk and they walked down to the car, and the teacher knocked on the window of the car and the mother rolled that car window down and she looked at that first year teacher and she said, "I'm so sorry, I meant to come talk to you. He was my 9th child. It was the only thing that came to mind." Well, she had graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She could deal with this. So the year started, and about 3 weeks later, the superintendent's out visiting schools. And the superintendent was at that elementary school. He remembered this young teacher. He'd given a job to the 3rd grade, decided he wanted to go to her class. And she thought, well, the best way to show off the talents of these kids is to have a spelling bee. And the superintendent came into her room and she started calling out words, and kids were raising their hand and they were 6 for 6, hadn't missed a word yet, and she thought, she looked at the superintendent, visibly impressed. She said, "Now's the time to quit." She turned around to go back to the blackboard, and sure enough, there was Dammit with his hand raised. And she thought, how am I going to deal with this? And she looked at him, she said, young man, what would you like? He said, I'd like to spell chrysanthemum. She said, damn it, you can't spell chrysanthemum. At which time the superintendent jumped up and said, why the hell don't you let him try? Well, that best describes what I've been doing for the last 3.5 years. In the minority, we're standing up saying, Mr. President, why don't you let us try? Mr. Reed, why don't you let us try? What have we done this entire process through health care? We've been standing on the sideline raising our hands saying, hey, coach, call us in the game. You know, not too many people in America realize the first health care bill introduced in the United States Congress was introduced by myself, Tom Coburn in the Senate, Paul Ryan and Devin Nunes in the House of Representatives. We laid on the table our cards. Well before the president ever talked about laying his cards on the table. Well before Democrats in the House or the Senate actually laid a bill down and said, here's what we're going to do. Some have suggested to me as I've gone around the state, most of them Democrats, that I didn't have any right to be quite as critical of the Democrats' plan as I was. I said, oh, no, 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 you've made a mistake. I introduced my thoughts. I can be as critical as I want to be because my plan's on the table. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of hearing the national media, not the local media, the national media say Republicans have brought no ideas to the table. Tom Coburn and I produced for this country a plan that increased the number of people insured 33 million, 2 million more than the president's plan, that didn't cost the taxpayers one additional dime. Not one. This belief that you've got to spend $1 trillion to reform health care is a myth. If you reform health care, you wouldn't be putting more money in it. Because the objective behind reform is to bend the cost curve down. Make no mistake about it, we need to reform health care in this country. It's unsustainable in its current direction. But over the next 14 days, once again, just like I've been ignored, you're going to be ignored. Nancy Pelosi's going to move this bill in the House, and she's going to say this to members of the House, many of them from North Carolina. Vote for the Senate bill, and then we will create this other bill we call reconciliation, where we'll fix all the things that are problems for you. Folks, once they pass the Senate bill in the House, the next stop is the president's desk, where he will sign this bill into law. There's no compelling reason for Harry Reid to take up a reconciliation bill that fixes anything from public funding of abortions to any other aspect of the bill, because to do that would be on the part of Democrats in the Senate to suggest they got it wrong the first time and now they're going to fix it.